Barry, one of the big unknowns right now, or maybe it's not an unknown because President-elect Trump has been very clear on imposing tariffs. So maybe we do know what he's going to do. What is your view on what he said as it relates to tariffs? And also, what will it do with the inflation conversation?
Yeah, well, I mean, if he did everything he said he was going to do, inflation would rise materially, rates would rise, and the economy would crater. So it's very unlikely that. And if you look at history, if you assume that everything a politician said during the campaign they're actually going to do, then
He
you're
might say he's not a
probably,
politician, Barry. He might say he's not a politician, and many might agree.
hey, he's still running for office. And that makes you a politician. And he says a lot of crazy stuff that nobody really believes. Um, so I don't think the tariff thing is going to end up being that big a deal. It's a
Why?
negotiating
Why?
ploy.
Sorry, because you don't think 10% is a big deal that he says he's going to impose on most
No,
trading
no, no.
partners?
I, I think the trade policy, when you distill it down, is focused on China and firstly and secondarily, China backdooring into the US through Mexico. Those are the real issues here. And the Mexico angle dovetails into immigration and the southern border. And so there's some connections there. But look, the higher interest rates is not in any president's best interest. I think they're negotiating ploys. I think China understands that. China needs to improve the overall trade situation with the United States, and China wants to trade things they'll give up on trade with the US with their sphere of influence in Asia, and they want to reduce American influence in Japan and Korea and Taiwan and all those places that are important to China. And China's willing to give up certain trade things if they can accomplish that. So
Hmm.
I'm making the assumption that all these people are rational, even if they appear irrational at various
Oh,
times
Barry.
in front of a camera.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I don't think there's going to be a huge tariff program that's going to drive inflation materially higher, although
Mm-hmm.
there will be
Hmm.
some. He's got to follow through on some of that. So I'm not really factoring that in to be a big impact on the economy in 2025.
Hmm. What do you think is going to be the biggest impact?
I think it's inflation and interest rates.
But not driven by
And
tariffs.
no, I don't think tariffs are going to be. I think that inflation can actually rise if oil goes back, up $20 a barrel, and we keep having significant wage settlements like we've seen in the last 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
then inflation is going to go higher. Um, and that's what'll really drive the economy.
Right. I wonder though, with respect to inflation, whether or not what's really going to drive that though, Barry,
Well, look,
to the upside.
inflation forever and ever is oil and wages. Okay. And the offset to that is technology, which improves productivity, which drives inflation down.
Right.
So I think it's not a bad situation we're in right now because I think we're in
Mm-hmm.
a similar technology boom as we had in the early 1990s with the invention of the internet, PCs, and cell phones. I
Yeah.
think AI and the ancillary things that go along with it are creating another future productivity boom, which is good, but it doesn't happen overnight. AI is still infancy, and inflation could
Mm-hmm.
rise over the next 12 to 18 months and cause the Fed to actually have to hike. And that's what makes me
Okay.
cautious.
Understood. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get some of your current investment ideas. We'll be right back.